Mark, what about Albo and Fitzgibbon? They've gone at it toe-to-toe, apparently. The description of the language used was most unparliamentary. Fitzgibbon has resigned from the front bench and has basically said to Anthony Albanese, if you want to win the next election, you need to take some advice from me going forward. It's a good old stoush.
Well, it's a huge stoush, and Fitzgibbon is right. He said that, you know, back in the day, people thought the Liberals supported business, the Nationals supported farmers, and Labor supported the workers. And now Fitzgibbon's reporting that blokes in high vis are walking up to the polling booth with the One Nation out of vote, as they did in his seat of Hunter. Stuart Bonds at the last election gave him the fright of his life. And they're saying Labor's in bed with the Greens, which they are. You see that all the time in the federal and state parliament. So Fitzgibbon is right, but just in terms of Albanese's own behaviour, if you're going to carpet someone and make criticism, try and pull Fitzgibbon back into line, you do it in the privacy of your office. To actually bring on a stoush, a huge stoush, that some people say they thought it was going to end up in physicality, to do that at the shadow cabinet meeting in front of all the colleagues there, they must be shaking their head and really questioning Albanese's judgement and political nous to do it that way. And it's really exploded and brought out all the tensions about who Labor really represents.
Now, Mark, in just a few minutes, we'll see the second state of origin. The Indigenous players will not sing the national anthem, as is their wont. There is moves afoot to change a particular sentence in Advance Australia Fair to more reflect our Indigenous culture. What do you think about changing the national anthem? I mean, my personal belief, Mark, is that we concentrate way too much on things like Australia Day dates and national anthems, when in fact the real problem, and the Productivity Commission brought out a report only a few weeks ago saying that billions of dollars is spent on Indigenous care, but it's being targeted in the wrong areas. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, billions wasted, Gleeso, on programs that have got no performance indicators or assessment, no measurement. Do these programs actually get a result? So we're just washing billions down the drain every year in trying to help the Indigenous, and the focus on one word in the anthem instead of young and free, it's one and free. Well, that's just ridiculous. I mean, the anthem's got to be accurate. Australia is a young nation, federated in 1901, and this absurdity, the Indigenous are somehow called the First Nations people. They didn't think that of themselves. The nation state was essentially an invention of Western civilisation that came here in 1788. They had their tribes, they had their way of life. A lot of that was fantastic. But they didn't regard themselves to be a nation of any kind. So these are sort of rich, white, green descriptors that are placed on the Indigenous, and the focus on the anthem's ridiculous. And some of the players in the footy sphere, they don't even know what they're talking about. Latrell Mitchell, who kind of started this last year at State of Origin level, has said his big objection about the national anthem is girt by sea, thinking it's invasion by sea. He doesn't even know the meaning of these words. Girt by sea is we're surrounded by sea, we're an island. We were 40,000 years ago, we were in 1788, we are today. And it'll have to be a hell of a lot of climate change to turn us into something else, make us a smaller island, I suppose. But, you know, if they don't understand the anthem, these objections are just cuckoo.